Now, the first few weeks of school, you're going to a new school, and we're not even going to talk about friends because, like I said, I'm going to talk about that another time.
Mhm.
But my first tip, introduce yourself to all your teachers. By this, I mean specifically. I mean, go up to them before or after class starts and say, hey, my name is Allison. I'm a new student. I just moved here from Alabama.
Mhm.
And if you have anything to say about your situation, so for example, my spiel at my last school, I didn't actually get a Chromebook or Google account until a month into school because I was the
Oh.
only new student. So they had no idea how to make a new account for me because everybody's had their Google account since kindergarten. So it took a month. And it turns out it was so hard because, get this, I actually lived in Alabama before for 4th grade for 10 months. And I had like the Montgomery Public Schools Google account. So they tried to create a new account and it was like, Allison already has an account. And they were like, no, she doesn't. She's new. But it was like my 2018 account and they couldn't do it. So they had to link, like they had to pull that one. And then I went onto my Power School, which is how we check grades if you don't use Power School. And I could like see my grades from 2018. And I was like, that's why it took so long because like people have them from like K to 12. So
that
basically, my point is I introduced myself to my teachers and I was like, hey, I can't do any online work. And they were all sending out their syllabuses. I couldn't read any syllabuses. I was like, hey, I don't have my computer or a Google account yet. So a lot of them just had to print stuff for me. So just explaining that because if you don't tell anybody, like, how are they going to know? Their counselor might tell them, but just advocate for yourself and also show like, hey. And also sometimes if you're like going through something, like you're struggling with the move, just having them know that you're a new student because sometimes it's rough and having someone on your side will always help.
Another thing I just want to quickly say, before you leave any school, back up all your files on external hard drive.
Because you ain't getting them back.
You will not get them back. I actually have a story about this. I'm so mad, right? So for my Dodea school, I was able to back up everything from middle school and even an elementary school I went to like years ago. I backed that up even though I probably wouldn't care about that. My second high school, however, they locked that stuff up so fast, faster than I could back it up. I was in the middle of backing up my stuff. Like the files, it was still downloading the zip drive when they disabled my account. And I still haven't been able to get anything back up. I've reached out to all my teachers. I've tried to get back all my old videos, all my old presets, everything. It was wiped.
That's terrible.
Oh, but do you know what they could do? For students who graduated from that high school, they could reactivate it for them because they graduated. But it said specifically in their bylaws or their handbook or whatever that they could only do it for students who have graduated.
So they just hate you, is what they said.
School, I couldn't get anything
so
back.
They just hate you. That's so awful.
So I've rebuilt my presets from scratch, and now I keep them in my personal drive because
God forbid.
I can't trust schools.
Oh, that's terrible.
Which I'm basically just going to have to... I already plan on backing up everything I have in Maryland just because I have a lot of good stuff here. I'm backing it up before I leave.
Yes, definitely.
So please,
that's huge.
Back up your stuff. If you're listening right now and you haven't backed up your stuff, don't turn this off.
Baby, lock in. I hope it's not locked already.
Download everything. It's really easy. Just go to your drive. If you don't organize everything in folders, shame on you. But you can just select everything, right-click, download. It's that easy. And also share it with your own personal account because some schools are different in how they fully lock things down. It's why I can still access stuff from my Dodea account because I've shared it to myself. Share it to yourself if possible, but no matter what, download it for sure.
Facts. I don't think they've locked my account yet, but I got everything off in like May. Like I wasn't even messing. But we actually didn't do a lot online, so I was kind of okay.
Only so much you can do.
Yeah. I think definitely that's a nightmare.
If you're rapidly approaching the end of the year and you don't use or you're on a computer that doesn't use Google Drive and you're, for example, and you're like editing and stuff. For me, when I was done with my 8th grade year, I had a bunch of presets, downloads, all sorts of stuff on my computer. I never thought to put it on my drive. That's absolutely something I should have done, and that's something I wish I would have done because I spent
on that laptop, not on the
It was on the computer that I edited on. I took I think it took me a full year to try and get everything back just from downloading everything just from sites and going off of everything on my memory alone.
Wow.
But I did have a lot of the videos because they were uploaded on YouTube, so I could easily recognize, okay, I used that preset there.
Yeah, you
Now
can
I
do
just need to look
unlisted.
through a million different libraries to figure out where they are.
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare
please.
feel.
All right. Jumping back into the first few weeks, because I know we kind of went back in time a little bit, but
Okay. Like I said, tell teachers you're a new student and if you have a situation. And
Mhm.
a lot of teachers have empathy for you, especially if it's not a military school. They're like, yeah,
Unless
got you.
those teachers are just pure evil. There
Yeah.
are some of those out there. Another thing, don't be afraid to tell other people you're a new student, and definitely don't be afraid to flex on where you've lived. When I showed up to my
Bro.
second high school, I didn't want to tell people that I lived in Japan because I was afraid it like gathered the wrong crowd or whatever. So what I did is I told people I moved from Virginia. And if you've listened to anything from my older episodes, you'll know that I only lived in Virginia for 3 months, and it was my first 3 months of life. And so I technically moved from Virginia to California to blah, 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 all the way from Kentucky. It was a half-truth. Be honest and open about where you've moved from.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
it's not bad at all. And
not
if someone
bad.
if someone hates you because you lived in Japan, that's probably not who you want to be friends with anyway.
Exactly. And honestly, that's just kind of like their own issue, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's less of a thing on you and more of a thing on them.
Your opinion. So if someone's like, hey, where are you from? Do you just say, oh, I was born in Virginia and then move on? Or you're like, I lived in blah, 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 blah.
I give them a whole life spiel. That's what
The
I
whole
do.
spiel.
Right?
Yeah,
they
that was
asked
my
a
this
question
round,
they
yeah.
didn't know would be long, and they got an answer that would take up 10 minutes of their time. Something I didn't mention in another episode that hold on.
Oh, he's gone.
This
Nice
thing
PJ pants.
is awesome. Hold on. So at my dad's retirement ceremony, my next door neighbor, who we were really close with, gave me this. And if you're listening and not watching, it is a
that's so
wooden
tough.
carving, and it's a map of everywhere I've lived, except for the places that I moved to after this was carved. This thing is
Wow.
awesome. It is my prized possession. I think about this thing all the time.
Can you get new carvings in it? For your new stuff?
I mean, I probably
should.
could. I would just rather have it be the same guy, so I got to ship this down to Florida. And
Yeah,
it definitely
that's
meant a lot
awesome.
because he and I, we moved at like the exact same day. We took the same flight out. We had a bunch of connecting flights because Maryland and Florida are, I'm not going to say they're close, but they're closer than like Hawaii and Guam. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm just coming on your podcast and I'm saying the most obvious stuff.
Was
Hey
worth
guys,
it.
really important that you notice that grass is green. Really take this into your next move. But
Yes.
yeah, don't be afraid
10 out
to
of
show
10.
off your moves. They
Yeah.
are awesome. Even if you've only moved to several places, like
That's still
2 or
way
3.
several more than everyone else. For real.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's huge, I think. And also, like, you shouldn't be ashamed of it either. Like, I have definitely felt that a little. Like, maybe that's how you're feeling a little, Cooper. Like, oh, no one cares that I move. Like, no one understands. But even if they don't care, so what? Come on.
Yeah.
Side note. What is your go-to 2 truths and a lie? Because I've talked about this. I don't know which approach to go. Because for me, it's, do I say, I've lived in Germany, I lived in Korea, I lived in France? Like, is that what I say?
I have 3 that you'll not be able to. Well, I guess you would because I've already told you my moving history. Shoot.
Okay, but
I
say
use
it,
my
say
moving
it.
history
Say
as a
for-
big part of the 2 truths and a lie.
That's what I am too. Everyone's 2 truths and a lie. I like dogs. I have a brother, and I play
And my
soccer.
uncle's a UFC fighter.
Yeah, like
it's very
no,
obvious.
it's not. I'm like, okay, so after that, am I the one who's like, I've lived in blah blah, or I could say like, I've stood next to a lion, I've rode an elephant, I've rode a dolphin. Like, which one of those is a lie?
I feel like, okay, riding a dolphin is insane. I would say not that one. Would that be it?
Wait, the lie or the truth? It's 2 truths and a lie, so there's one lie.
That's
You
the
have to
lie.
guess the
That's the
lie.
lie for sure.
No, that's not the lie. That's true.
It's not the lie. You wrote it.
Yeah, I went to the Dominican Republic on vacation, and I had pictures of me like there's dolphins under my feet, and I'm like standing on
That
them.
is
It's crazy.
insane.
Yeah. Do you want another guess on the lie? It's 50-50.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that it's not the lion because you told me you vacationed down in Africa. So let's see. I stood next to a lion. I think that's true. I rode an elephant. Where exactly did you ride the elephant? Because there's laws in certain areas, especially in Africa.
Thailand.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
The lie
right,
was
I'll
the
say-
lion.
The lion is the lie. Of course it is.
I did see lions in Africa though. I didn't stand next to them.
Okay.
So pretend you don't even know me though, and I just am
Mhm.
some random blonde girl, and I pull up to your school and I say all this stuff. What are you gonna think of me? Is that really gonna be my first impression? Is
Well,
that an
there's
okay
a
first
decent
impression?
military presence here in Maryland, so I'm like, you know what? You're probably a military kid. There is some of a difference between me and the rest of them because a majority of them are Navy kids, and Navy kids, for whatever reason, they're lucky and they always get to move back to places they've already lived.
They be going to
And
Virginia
so
a
I
lot.
think that they were kind of able to tell I was a different kind of military kid because I've only moved back to one place once,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even that good of a place. What branch
So
is your family associated with most?
Air Force, both of
Air
my parents.
Force?
My mom is a reservist and my dad works full time.
Lucky.
But they've both been in a while.
Okay, so you got all the rich kid Dodea schools and all those great experiences. I did go to some Dodea schools on an Air Force base, and then I went to one on a Marine base. The difference was definitely there.
Yeah, I've only ever been Ramstein. It's an Air Force base, but there's a lot of other presences.
Mhm.
I think there's it's not a joint base, I don't believe, but there's just a lot of other
Mhm.
branches on there anyway because it's so huge.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what Okinawa is like. It has a
yeah,
million bases, but most of them are Air Force.
yeah.
All right, where are we? I think we got a little sidetracked.
Man. Okay. So, find out what you've missed. If you're moving mid-year, unfortunately, neither of us have moving mid-year experience, so can't really help you out too much there, but
Mhm.
you can still take the advice we've said, and all of that still applies to moving in the middle of the year. I would say definitely introduce yourself to everybody,
Yeah,
especially if you're moving
100%.
mid-year. It's kind of all I have to say about that. For curriculum, don't be afraid to ask for extensions because it would be totally
Yeah.
unfair. If they're not already like helping you out, you can ask for help too.
You'd
Yeah,
be
that's
surprised
kinda
what you can get away with asking for. And if you're a new student, whether
okay.
it's in the middle of the year, towards the start of the year, or even at the end, ask how you can get involved. There's always some
We're always
club
like
out there
everyone's always
that's
looking for
thinking,
stuff.
"Oh man, at the beginning of the year, we should have gotten a so and so," and
Totally.
that could be right up your alley.
Absolutely. Okay, read the syllabus, kind of with the handbook. This is also like general not even new student advice, student advice.
Yeah.
Study tip, read the syllabus because you don't know what the teacher's rules are. Typically, if it's really important, they'll tell you the rules, but you also never know. And you don't want to get cooked in the middle of
Mhm.
the semester when you want to retake something, and it turns out they actually
You
just
never
don't let you
could.
retake stuff because
Or if you
it's a new
can
school.
retake something and it's the kind of class that doesn't give the vibe that you can, definitely,
Right.
in the
And then
very
you can fix your
least,
whole grade.
if you have a teacher and you know someone who's a grade or two above you, talk to that person as much as you can. They will not
Absolutely.
only tell you the dirt on all of that teacher, but also any surprises that teacher likes to throw on you, which it's very
Yeah.
good to have all of this on hand.
Absolutely. One of my best friends, I told you about the Model United Nations thing.
Mhm.
The girl who was the Secretary General, and if you don't know MUN lingo, that's basically the person in charge of the whole conference.
Mhm.
Her name was Miriam, and she was my little
Mhm.
welcoming committee. I had definitely other students in my grade that were helping me out, but she saw my application for the secretariat, and she accepted me, and she was also the president of speech and debate, which is my other
Mm.
big extracurricular. So she was my mentor, and she showed me all the stuff and showed me the ropes. And then basically, I was her. I don't want to say like co-president, but
Yeah.
I planned like every event with her for the rest of the
Mhm.
year for speech and debate. And now she's one of my best friends. You
I
probably see
feel
her all
like
over my
that
Milton
is
account.
I feel
She's
like
everywhere.
it's safe to say that you were a co-president if you really had a hand in
No,
everything.
yes. Oh man. And that's the other thing that sucks about being a new kid. There was no time to give me an actual leadership position, but I
Mhm.
literally
You did it
helped out
anyways.
with everything the leadership kids did. So
Yep.
can't put that on my Common App, but in my
Mhm.
heart I know. So
In your heart, and
yeah.
in truth, I will say when you're applying to jobs, colleges, or even other extracurriculars,
Mhm.
you'd be surprised with how much titles you could give yourself. Like if you have to change something around to better fit
Mhm.
something else, that would make sense. Or I'm not saying lie on your resume, but
Yeah.
if there's something that still lines up with what you're applying for and you know it's just a matter of a title change, by all means. As long as all the same skills are there. Ah, yeah, I was the president, co-president, and founder of the Speech and Debate Club,
So that's
right?
a lot.
It would be lying. That would
If
be
that
lying. I do not endorse that, but if you truly have
I'm
to
gonna
get
cut that
in,
out. I'm gonna just leave the part where you
yeah,
said you should laugh at it.
yeah, yeah.
Moving on. Read syllabus, ask peers for help. If there's an older student who's like the leader of a club that you want to be involved in, they, especially like if they're a senior or even a junior, they totally want to help you out. More general study, keep track of assignments in one place.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a planner girl, so I like mine on paper. I know a lot of people do the online. Can't get it. Can't switch over. But do what works for you.
For
Can't
me,
hurt.
what I do, and listen, people call me crazy for this, but it's
You
just
are
so simple.
crazy.
You don't even know what I'm doing. Okay,
I
what
already
I
know it's
do
gonna be
is
crazy.
on my calendar app, if you have an iPhone, you have the standard Apple Calendar. That is what I use to keep track of literally everything. So
Ew.
school, I use to track, how long it takes for me to get from home to the bus to the school, and then I keep track of all of my little classes. And then if there's a test coming up, I go into the little event and I rename it from like period 3, whatever, to test here. And what I always do is I always check my calendar like a couple weeks in advance so I can always change stuff and get prepared for whatever's coming. Additionally, I also have a Google Spreadsheets to-do list that
I got one of
works
those.
wonders for me, except in the summer, right? I keep having a lot of stuff that I mean to do over the summer. Like
Cooper didn't respond to my email. I didn't even know we were gonna have a podcast today.
I
I'm sorry.
responded to the email yesterday,
Last
very
night.
late at night. Right, that wouldn't have happened if I had my to-do list. I swear, in my
Yeah.
mind, I responded like it was like hour you sent it to. I thought to myself, hey, let me quickly check my calendar. Oh, I'm completely free Monday because it's summer and everything's boring and I have nothing to do. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm good to go.
Senior head
then-
of Bloom, by the way. Okay.
Yeah, senior head of miscommunication at Bloom.
That was funny. Okay, yeah. So Cooper's crazy. He does online. Low key, that's what I do on my calendar, though. Like my planner, it's the same thing, just
sense.
online. So
Yeah,
maybe you're not that
calendar
crazy.
goes a super long way, especially if you're involved in a lot of stuff, like I am.
Yeah. Also, you have to be a little better than everybody else when you're a student, in my opinion, because if you slack off in the first week of school, people are gonna think you're a slacker, even if you're
Yep.
not. This could be the
It's
one
part of your
time that you've
first
forgotten
impression.
something. Like if you forgot something, if you forgot a club meeting or 2 club meetings, and like you're like, I'm not like this, like I've never done this before, I'm just stressed out from the move. People will like be like, okay, sure, but they're not gonna believe you because that's all they know about you is that you're a slacker. So
Yep.
do not slack.
I was
Like, at
very,
least,
very
like,
lucky
ugh.
with Bloom. When I originally applied to join Bloom as a podcast editor, I was late to the meeting. I was late to the interview. I was so lucky that Kate and Addison took mercy on me. And I mean,
Well,
everything
they're
ended up
other
working.
military kids, so they understand.
Other military kids, so they
Luckily.
understand that I had
Yeah.
just moved. Well, the thing is that I actually kind of didn't speak the full truth on what happened. My
lying
dad,
again.
he was going to drive the
endorsing
family
lying.
completely out of the church just to go for a couple of errands. I went with them. I looked at my calendar. It was completely empty because I hadn't used my calendar at that time. I'm like, you know
First
what?
checking his calendar when he knows he doesn't use his calendar.
Yep. I thought I was in the clear, and the clock, I was just staring off into the distance. I looked over at the clock. I watched it turn 3. I'm like, okay, if I was in school right now, I think I'd be getting out. I'm like, and tomorrow I have that Bloom interview on Thursday. I look over at my dad's phone. It says Thursday. I'm like, okay, and I didn't make my dad turn around because the errands he was running was at Target and they were already coming out to deliver stuff. And so I got out of the car in the middle of the road, ran back to church. I did not have a key or anything to get into the building. And so I had to go into the backyard, run up through where my uncle lived, which was insane because I hadn't talked to him all week because of like family issues. I'm like, I'm sorry, I need to get to this interview. I turned on my computer and listen, it's not like the computer I use now. It is the slowest thing alive. It took forever to get to the screen where it shows your wallpaper and the time in the corner. And I was typing in my password so fast, it didn't even register on the very slow computer. And even worse, the meeting was on Zoom. If you know anything about Zoom, it takes a million years to open. And I was just sitting there. I think I was positively 20 minutes late. And the entire time I was like trying to text Kate and Addison, or not text them. I didn't have their numbers at the time. I was sending them like emails. None of them were sending because T-Mobile, which is what my phone used at the time, was down. So I couldn't
Oh
send
my
them any
gosh.
emails. And for whatever reason, my phone just refused to connect to the church Wi-Fi. That's what it was defaulting to instead of the actual house Wi-Fi. And the church Wi-Fi doesn't keep their Wi-Fi on unless if it's the hours of church. And it was a whole mess. I was lucky
Oh my
enough to get
lord.
in when I did. I'm like, you guys, I'm so sorry. Everything worked out as it did. Right, we recorded our first episode, I think, just a couple weeks later. So
I'm
basically,
so glad.
don't do what I did. Keep track of everything. Keep track of it well, because chances are the people that you have to deal with probably aren't military kids, and they will not have mercy on you. Unless if you apply to Bloom. Then, if I'm still on at that time, I'm going to try. But I don't know. Kate
Absolutely.
and Addison they're a million times nicer than I am.
And I'm so glad. Moral of the story, keep track of your assignments in one place because you don't want to be known as a slacker and you don't want Bloom to hate you because Cooper will get you. I'm just kidding.
I haven't done that in a very long time, okay? I've given it up last week, okay? I'm a new man.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the MIC3.
Oh, man. This is like
Yay!
the meat of the episode.
Okay,
right?
Cooper, what is the MIC3?
So I'm going to full title it here. The MIC3 Interstate Military That's not right. That's not the right order of words at all.
What's the MIC3?
It's a federally enforced, I don't want to say law. I don't know what, I can't say what exactly it is. It helps you transfer your credits from your old high school to your new one, right? So if for whatever reason you took Algebra 1 and at your first high school, and for whatever reason your second high school isn't accepting your credits because, oh, well, we spell Algebra 1 O-N-E, and you have Algebra 1 with the
That's so funny. I have a story. Go ahead.
Right? If that happens for whatever reason, you reference the MIC3 Military Interstate Compact. It can take care of most of your issues, but like all things that are federally enforced, there's a bunch of ifs, ands, or buts. Yes. And that's what we're going to be diving into.
Absolutely. So the Algebra 1 thing is so funny because my brother, he's an incoming freshman, and he took advanced 8th grade math in Alabama, and that includes 8th grade math and Algebra 1. He also took advanced 7th grade math, which includes part of 8th grade. So this year he took the other half of 8th grade and Algebra 1. But they didn't call it Algebra 1 because it wasn't just Algebra 1. It was advanced 8th grade math. Our new school has not accepted the credit yet, so we are going to advocate using the MIC3 because, yes, it was not called Algebra 1, but it included Algebra 1, and it had all of the things of Algebra 1 because if he was to go to high school in Alabama, he would skip Algebra 1 because that is the equivalent at that school. So that's an example of how to use the MIC3. And what you can do, like in short, we'll talk about this a little later too, but you can reference the MIC3 and do it yourself. Go to your counselor and say, hey, this is what it is. I'm protected under it. You have to accept my credits. If for whatever reason they say no, or you don't want to do that because you don't want to waste your time doing that, and you could make their compact commissioner of your state, which every state has a compact commissioner, and it is their job to advocate for you.
And
so you can email them and call them, tell them their situation, and they will get it resolved. Which,
by the way, they are amazing people. They do their research. They get stuff done. I once presented in front of them via a virtual panel, and towards the end of the panel, they said, hey, shout out to Okinawa, Japan high schools, and specifically Cooper Canterbury. And it was fun. It was fun, but I had never explicitly said anything about Kubasaki High School.
Wow.
So these people, they know what they're doing. They get their research done fast. You know what it was? I'm an idiot. They still do their research. I wore a hoodie that said Kubasaki High School to the virtual panel. But they really do their research a lot. They are insane. I've heard them basically like perform miracle stories with just transferring credits over. They are absolutely amazing at what they do. All right, now let's get into the if, ands, or buts, just because there's a lot on what you can do, what you can't do, and what they can do, and there's a lot, folks.
We briefly said what it was. Here are some facts for you. The average military student attends 6 to 9 different schools between kindergarten and 12th grade, moving 3 times more often than their civilian peers. So, Cooper, how many schools have you been to?
Just by a rough count, I believe it's 9. I
Mhm.
moved 8 places, but there's sometimes where you have to attend multiple schools, either because
Yep.
you're going in the middle school or COVID happens and my family preferred to put me in a virtual school instead. I believe it's 9.
Yes, and I am at 10. So, we are actually above the average, so we got you. We're gonna explain what it
Uh-huh.
is. That also just goes to show there's a lot of people out there like you. The average is 6 to 9, and we're at 9 and 10, so
Mhm.
there's more than you think. And also, all of the following information that we're gonna talk about is gonna be linked down below, but it is the MIC3 guide for parents, school officials, and public administrators, and I'll put all of that in the description below if you
Mhm.
wanna reference the actual facts, but we're just making them a little bit more digestible for you. The compact ensures students are not penalized or delayed in achieving their educational goals due to these moves. This is very specifically for graduation requirements. It is possible that a school could say, "Hey, you actually need to give us, like, 6 requirements that you don't have, so you actually have to not graduate this year." That's a very extreme
Hmm.
case, but that's possible, and that's what the MIC3 is preventing. In general, it provides a standard set of rules for enrollment, placement, and graduation across all member states, which is all US states and the District of Columbia.
Mhm.
Okay, who qualifies for protection? Children of active duty members, including National Guard and Reserve on Title 10 orders, members or veterans who are medically discharged or retired for 1 year, or members who die on active duty for 1 year after death, and commissioned corps of NOAA and the USPHS. The Commission Corps of the NOAA is a U.S. federal scientific and regulatory agency within the Department of Commerce, and the USPHS is a federal public health agency and one of the nation's 8 uniformed services. So, if you're those kids,
Mhm.
you're
Welcome.
protected too. If you're like something really niche, you can look it up and maybe there's been an update like yesterday. You'd never know.
Mhm.
This is constantly being adapted. Um,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
hate to kind of like toot our own horn here, but Bloom has a guide to the military teen. We update it every year in collaboration with the National Military Family Association. And one of our big highlights is actually the MIC3. We always try to have the latest and greatest information on there. As of right now, this is all fully accurate as of July 27th, 2026. But
Mhm.
who knows what it is
Yeah,
from now.
especially like if this is like a year after, or like even in a couple months.
Mhm.
There are a lot of individuals out there working very hard to make sure that you have the best protections. And if you feel like you're not being protected and there's something that you want to add to the Interstate Compact, A, apply to Bloom, or B, reach out to your state commission and be like, hey, this is my situation. And they still might be able to help you even if you can't
Mhm.
find something specifically stated under the MIC3.
There's always something out there that you can do.
Yeah. And we went over who is covered, but who's not covered are children of inactive National Guard reserves, veterans or retired members beyond the 1 year mark, and Department of Defense, DoD, civilians, or contractors. So, what does that mean for you, Cooper?
What that means is basically if your parental figure has retired out of the military, from that day, you have exactly 1 year to take advantage of the MIC3 Interstate Compact.
Get those credits, get your transcripts,
Yep.
guys.
Make sure you have everything locked in because once they save you, you're pretty much saved for the rest of your high school year on that one thing, right?
hmm
Don't wait until it's too late. Try and get
Do not
yourself
wait till
saved
senior year.
as early as you can.
Yeah.
Do not wait until senior year,
And that's huge,
please.
especially if your parent retires sophomore year, you still have 2 years of high school left, and you probably have credits from middle school that you wanted to take into
Mhm.
high school with you, and you only get the MIC3 protection for junior year when you're not worried about graduation. And then senior year, your counselor's like, "Hey, you actually never took XYZ," and you're like, "No,
Yep.
I did," and they're like, "No, you didn't." And then, unfortunate,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And it only applies to public and DoD schools or DODEA or
Mhm.
DOEA, whatever they call it 15 years from now.
Yeah. That is important to note if you're considering choosing between a private and a public school. How will your credits transfer? Like, that's something to look
Mhm.
into before you make those decisions, for sure.
And also consider whether or not the school you're going to is a Purple Star school. That's basically a school that has been recognized for helping military kids in and get into their system. I believe there is a heavy amount of requirements there to become a Purple Star school. I know
Mhm.
the one I currently attend is one, or is either working very hard to become one.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely do your research on purple. Blah, I cannot speak. This is the color of military children, and I cannot even speak it. Purple Star Schools. Very important that you look into it.
Yes, definitely. And if you're, especially in high school, if your parent retires, okay, key protections and flexibilities. Graduation requirements. So if you're a senior or junior or in high school at all, schools must waive specific required courses if the student has completed similar coursework elsewhere. If a student transfers during their senior year and cannot meet the new school's requirements, the schools must coordinate to ensure the student receives a diploma from the previous sending school. So, what this means, if I were to move from Alabama to Virginia in the middle of my senior year, and they said, we can't let you graduate here, my previous school in Alabama would have to give me a diploma. Or the school in Virginia would have to lock in and do whatever they need to do to make me graduate. Basically, they can't say I have to take senior year again. And then going to the first part of that, waiving specific required courses. So like the Algebra 1 versus Algebra O and E. It sounds stupid, but this definitely happened to somebody. Like, definitely.
Yeah.
That's definitely a huge thing. And also just getting copies of what your classes entailed. So you could say, hey, this was my coursework. I've already completed this equivalent. And don't let it go missing on your transcript.
Yeah.
That would be terrible. Listen to the
really
last episode we just talked
Honestly,
about. This is going to be
a piece of advice maybe I wish I would have listened to. Well, I mean, this advice never existed because I just came up with this on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Keep track of your syllabuses, even from former classes, right?
Yeah.
They definitely will go over a lot of courseworks, major units and chapters. Yeah. Why not? Just keep track of it. For all you know, you may need it one day if your previous schools decide to ghost you, which has come very close to happening for me.
And why don't you make a binder of that? You can keep them all in a little binder. That'll be perfect.
Or just in a Google Drive folder somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Download your Google Drives.
Yep.
Okay. Course and program placement. Schools must honor a student's placement in AP, honors, gifted, or career pathway programs based on their previous enrollment or assessments. While the new school can perform its own evaluations later, they must place the student appropriately upon arrival to avoid educational gaps. This is huge because schools will tell you, well, you didn't get an A in our 7th grade honors ELA, so we can't put you in honors 8th grade ELA. And especially if you did take the honors in your previous, come on, man. That should be a no-brainer.
Yep. MIC3 has you covered.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Seriously. Unless you're Cooper.
Unless you're me. I'm not covered because my dad retired out of the military. It's coming up on 2 years ago. No, it's over 2 years ago. So it no longer covers me. It only covers you for a year after family retires. So you can only do so much.
And that's why you best get those transcripts sent and submitted to your school of graduation, if you know it especially. Okay. Extracurricular eligibility. Inbound students must be given the opportunity to participate in sports, clubs, and organizations like the National Honor Society, even if they miss traditional tryout or application windows. So, since they do stuff in the spring, they have to let you try out in the fall. They can still reject you and be like, sorry, you didn't make the team, you didn't qualify, but they have to let you try.
Which may seem like a little unfair because if they never want you, they never want you. But I don't know. If you shake them, there's still a chance. There's always a chance just because you may feel like, well, they can reject me anyway. And people have fought for the MIC3 compact to make sure that you can at least try. I beg of you, do it.
Especially national organizations, so DECA, HOSA, NHS.
Yep.
Yeah. FBLA, even like Model United Nations is not as like uniform in its chapters, but like clubs like that they have in multiple places, those are the ones that have member requirements like on their website. So you can use that to be like, hey, there's actually no reason you shouldn't let me because I've done all this. I was an officer, blah, blah, blah. Like you have to advocate for yourself. Enrollment in immunizations. Students can enroll using unofficial or hand-carried records while waiting for official transcripts. Oh my gosh. That's why it's really important to get your transcripts. Because schools can be rough and not give you the official one. So if you have a copy of your unofficial or your semester one, that's 1000% better than nothing. And the MIC3 says the school has to use that until you get the real one.
Yep.
To register for your school.
Which means that in theory, if you're desperate enough, you could potentially cook up your own and just like Google Docs and print it out. Just as
That's
long
an
as the
unofficial
information is
transcript.
accurate.
Yeah, that's an unofficial transcript. That's what it is. Or if you go to your whatever you use for grades, export screenshot. Like that's basically what Cooper said. That's an unofficial record. Obviously, you just can't doctor anything. That's probably illegal. I don't know.
Yeah, we do not endorse that.
Families are granted a 30-day grace period from the date of enrollment to provide required immunization records. So they can't say, hey, you can't come to school because you don't have your shots. You have time to get those. If that ever applied, I don't have a specific instance, but
nope.
Sure it'll help someone. Age flexibility. If a child was already enrolled in kindergarten or first grade in the previous state, this new school must honor that placement regardless of their own age requirements. So obviously we're high schoolers and we're kind of like not high school, but if your mom or spouse or your family member or you're a high schooler with a little sibling who isn't allowed to go to kindergarten, they're protected under the MIC3.
Yep.
So don't you forget. Okay, how to advocate for your child. So these are different ways. School liaison, contact your school district's military family education liaison who is specifically appointed to help implement the compact. So we have the school liaisons. Some are better than others. I have had experience with both, the good and the perhaps not so good. But that is also their job to help you. So reaching out can't ever hurt.
Absolutely. Right, I should have actually reached out to my school liaison. It is so funny. When I met with my counselor and I talked with her the same day that everything else happened, I had the opportunity to reach out to my liaison, and I just never did. And I ended up meeting her a couple months later down the line at a district event, and I'm like, oh, I should have reached out to you. You have so many resources that definitely would have been able to help me. Please reach out to them. They have just so much.
Yeah, they're designed to help you get into a new school and transition. And they have all kinds of other things, counseling, recommendations, like whatever you need, they probably have it. Okay, state councils. Every state has a council, including the state superintendent and military representatives dedicated to resolving these issues, which also includes the compact commissioner, who is appointed to help you with these issues. So not only do you have the school liaison, but you have people who work for the government, for the state, that are
on your side.
Literally, their job is to advocate for you. So you would be dumb not to reach out. And if you're going through something, the worst they can say is actually,
no,
you're not protected. I'm sorry. Your dad retired 2 years ago, King. Sorry. But yeah. National mediation, and if a dispute cannot be resolved at the local or state level, the MIC3 national office can intercede to mediate and find an equitable solution. So you literally, this means that it's going to get settled. If you go to your school and say, hey, I took algebra, and under the MIC3, this line, I'm protected, and they're like, no. You go to the state compact commissioner, they do the same thing. The school still says no. It just keeps going up, and you will find an equitable solution. And I can't guarantee that it's going to be what you want, but I guarantee it's probably going to be what the MIC3 protects you under, and it will be resolved. So don't give up. Yep. Interpreting rules. Any questions regarding how specific rules should be interpreted can be sent to the MIC3 executive director through your state commissioner. So you have resources to help you advocate for yourself if you don't necessarily want to reach out and do everything alone. You have so many people on your side.
A commissioner for Dodea schools, but I haven't ever really heard of an issue. Well, I mean, there are always issues of transferring credits over, but if you're at a Dodea school and you're overseas, the MIC3 compact can still apply to Dodea schools, especially like the ones overseas.
Typically, I mean, like you said, in my experience too, they're pretty chill. They're like,
they're understanding.
All military, obviously, but
still, there's always like a new counselor or someone who maybe doesn't always get it.
Yep. So, you want to talk about Bloom and what they do with the MIC3?
So I believe that, please, like, don't quote me on this, but I believe we do annual collaborations with the MIC3 Interstate Compact. We talk to these state commissioners that we mentioned earlier, and we kind of give them our story. And I believe every year or so, they update the MIC3 Compact based on what we say and based on the probably thousands of other presentations they get. So Bloom is incredibly lucky to be able to present with them every single year, or at least I believe they do. Reach out. in the very least, they will say no, and then you'll be exactly where you are if you don't reach out.
Yeah, and seriously, you are protected in writing. Like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to take advantage of the rights that you have and of the rights that people work hard every day for you to get, and the people that are employed every day to help you use those rights to your advantage, because you absolutely should.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of all I really had to say. Not too much yapping, but I do have some more academic tips that we can talk about a little bit.
Ooh. Get involved. Please.
Yeah.
Every single club that remotely interests you, every single chapter organization that you maybe heard of at your old move.
Yep.
Get involved, please.
Oh, he grabbed the camera on that one.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Get
my
involved.
computer was a little, I needed to adjust it. And I'm like, well, I could also rant, but I could also adjust it too.
Probably my number one tip. And it sounds like, yeah, whatever. But honestly, pick 3 to 5 clubs, especially as an underclassman. I would recommend probably thinning out junior, senior year. But because I think quality over quantity, do more in 3 clubs than a little in 5, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But freshman year, pick 3 to 5 that you seem interested in, and then dedicate yourself to the ones that align with your passion, interests, what you want to do later in life, etc.
Or you can really be a tryhard and give it your all to only 7 clubs.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's definitely an
And
option.
if one of them just happens to be Bloom, I wouldn't
Blue
be against
Military
that at
Teens.
all. Yep, bloommilitaryteens.org.
Yep.
You can find everything there to join. We got lots of teams, and it's great involvement and will look awesome on a resume.
Definitely. You can go check out our last episode where we talked all about Bloom for a very long time.
Rumor has it that it's actually split up into multiple episodes. Probably like this one.
Rumor has it we can't shut up.
Yep.
Okay. Some more general academic back to school tips. This is a big one. Do not compare your grades from school to school. I will say, if you're worried about colleges, first of all, there's additional information section where you can talk about your different schools. Second of all, they evaluate everything in context. So for example, GPAs. I have like a different GPA on a different scale for every school that I went to, because my freshman year school, they did it on a scale of 100. I still don't know how it works. But basically, like, the higher you get, like, a perfect GPA is a 100. And then, like...
That makes no sense!
And then you add 10 points for an AP class and, like, 5 for an honors. It was really confusing.
Oh, my goodness.
So that was one GPA, and I didn't even know what my GPA was. Like, I couldn't tell you. Okay, sophomore year, it was weighted, but it was, like, heavy weighted because they didn't do a lot of APs. But I did take a lot of APs, so my GPA was, like, astronomically high. Oh my god, what was it?
11.
I think it was a 5.28 on a 4.0.
Goodness.
But only, like, that's not real now. Like, they did something. I think they added a lot of weight for AP. And, like, the higher grade you got in AP, but also, like, a 93 was a B. It was really confusing. Yeah, it was really confusing. So I think, like, if you had a 94, you got, like, a lot of weight because it was like a high A. Anyway. So, and then my junior year, the school was, like, insanely, like, difficult and academic, and it was a magnet program, and basically they were all different, and I can't say, like, oh, I'm stupid because I got blah, blah, blah grade in my old school, because every school is different, and you're also, it takes time to find your pace, and maybe the school does studying differently. They do different tests. I know from school to school, like, they expect different things, different skills, different curriculums. So don't be afraid or sad or heartbroken if, like, your grades are not the exact same, because mine weren't. Yours. That's why it's so confusing, because my GPA is going to be recalculated on this school's scale, and they do, like, semesters, right? We all know what semesters and quarters are, I assume. But they also do checkpoints. So, like, every 4 weeks there's a checkpoint. So your GPA is calculated based on checkpoints. And I don't know what my checkpoint grades were, because in my old school, they only did semester and quarter. But checkpoints are, like, mid-quarter. So they're probably going to tell me, we can't calculate your GPA. You can't graduate. And they're going to have to do extra work to try to figure it out. And I'm not going to know what my GPA is. But anyway, time to adjust. If your grades dip, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, that's fine. But
just do what you can as much as you can. They may be lower,
and they may be consistently lower, because some schools have higher expectations and some schools have lower. and you have to adapt to that workload. Okay, like my academic friendship tips that helped me personally. Introduce yourself. We said that. Sit near the front and find a study buddy. That's big. I know it's like tempting to sit in the back, but honestly, I think there's in no world it's like better. Like I think you learn better, you meet new people, you participate more if you're in the front.
Or at least sit in like the middle, right?
Oh yeah,
we don't
need to go front row. At least
my last name starts with C, so I'm pretty much always forced in like the front row seats anyways.
Yeah, you know in like elementary school when like they do the numbers based on your last name. I was always like number 2 or 3 because I'm a B. Yeah, your school has resources, so read the handbook, talk to your counselors.
And if your school doesn't really have good resources, your state does.
So I actually think tutor.com offers waivers to military kids. They offer tutoring actually online for military kids specifically. So you could look into that.
That's awesome. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Your teachers and parents want you to succeed. They don't know you need help unless you ask for it. And so does the people at the MIC3. So you have an entire team behind you to get through this new school year. You got it.
And even though I have no idea who you guys are, I hope you succeed.
Absolutely. We both hope you succeed. Cooper, do you have any last words?
I think you've said everything perfectly. I have no further words. Well, I mean, not for this episode, at least.
Thanks for listening to Home is Where the Heart Is. I'm Allie, and I hope today's episode reminded you that you're not alone. We're all in this together. If you want to share your story, email me at thatmilteen@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at thatmilteen to stay up to date in our community. If you're listening on Spotify, please rate the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, interacting with this video helps this reach more kids like you. Remember, home isn't just a place, it's where your heart is. Bye!
There we go.